Good evening. The League of Women Voters of the Ottumwa welcomes you and your forum for City Council and mayoral candidates. Your active participation makes our forums relevant. You let candidates know what it is of value to our community members. I, Jacqueline Pope, will be the moderator. We appreciate the generous use of the Career Campus Center for this meeting from the Ottumwa schools. We also appreciate Jeremy King, who will broadcast our forum tonight and then place it on the League of Women Voters of Ottumwa Facebook page so everyone can view. After the forum, that should be tomorrow. Any member of the audience may hand a question signed to the people that are collecting them. League members will review the cards for signatures, readability, and to avoid duplication of the issues. They will view the questions submitted via the League Facebook page for actual names and also duplication. I will introduce the League members making this forum happen tonight. Our greeters and question greeters are Lori, Mary, Jean, and Stephanie. Jean is our timekeeper.
I'm going to read the rules of the forum for all of you in the audience. Our candidates have already received a written invitation.
Jean, can you use the mic so all can hear?
I'm sorry. All of the candidates received the rules when we sent them an invitation via email, and we just reviewed them briefly before they took their seats. The candidates, you will notice, are seated in alphabetical order. League works very hard at making sure we don't give preference to anyone. Questions will be read in a rotating order so that no candidate is always first, nor are they always last. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, 2 minutes for a closing statement, and 1.5 minutes to answer each question. Our timer will ensure that each candidate has an equal time to respond. And on occasion, if the candidate does not understand the question, they may ask for Jacqueline to repeat it, and then their time starts when they start to answer. Obviously, we've been blessed with respectful behavior by everyone. And if you haven't, would you please silence your cell phone?
Okay. So I'm ready for the first question.
Don't we introduce ourselves first?
Yes, you do. So we'll go ahead with Dupree. Dupre, if we could start with you.
Good evening. My name's Joella Dupre, and I'm honored to be here this evening. And I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me. For 27 years, I worked in office environments alongside CPAs, builders, engineers, contract workers, government contracts, and manufacturing. I have a good understanding of how local and government economies work and how important it is to support strong businesses and responsible growth. Later in life, I went back to school and earned my Bachelor of Science degree in nursing because I wanted to give back to my community. It's really important to me to improve the health and well-being of the people around me. The combination of that experience, both business and healthcare, give me a different perspective when I look at the city. When my husband and I moved back to Ottumwa, I saw that there was a need in the community, one where families felt secure, where housing and jobs were accessible, and where health and quality of life were priorities, especially when making decisions. I'm running because I believe in the city's leadership that listens, acts with integrity, meets with the department heads to ask questions and dive down into the nitty-gritty, and make common sense choices to keep our community strong, healthy, and thriving for years to come. Thank you.
Galloway.
Hi, I am Kara Galloway, and I am running for re-election for the Ottumwa City Council. I'm running because I believe in experience, accountability, and a relentless commitment to our community's future. Having served on the Ottumwa City Council, I bring a proven track record for asking hard questions and tackling tough issues. I'm actively involved in the community, which gives me a good pulse on what matters to our residents. And as someone raising a child here, I understand the stakes for our families. I take the time and effort that this position demands. It's not just showing up for meetings, it's meeting with department heads, others, and multiple other meetings. I'm not here to rubber stamp decisions. I make sure to answer calls, return emails, and fully engage in the work needed to move Ottumwa forward. Thank you, and I look forward to tonight's discussion.
Thank you. Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Hector Hernandez. I am running for city council because I enjoy the city of Ottumwa. I'm very active in different entities such as Main Street Ottumwa and the Economic Vitality Group. Also very involved with the Wapello County Trails Group. And also in my job, I also create different maps and also show different perspective with my background as a Latino person. I really enjoy Ottumwa and the people that I've met here. Very passionate about sports, and I really enjoy how Ottumwa has created the sports center and also the soccer fields that I can participate in activities with my fellow colleagues and also friends. And if I want to just bring my perspective as a transportation planner and show that we can build Ottumwa with different organizations and partnerships that we can partner with and bring our community closer together and also provide a safe place for our city to grow up. Thank you.
Thank you. Reed.
Good evening, folks. My name is Dan Reed. I'm running for re-election to the Ottumwa City Council. I have a desire to help the city of Ottumwa. It is my hometown. I was born here. I was away for a while from '73 when Merrill's closed and my dad's work took us away, but came back in '92. And I feel a desire to help if I can with the city of Ottumwa. I want Ottumwa to be a great place for all. I feel it's a great city. There's good things going on and happening. And I want all of the citizens of Ottumwa to just enjoy their time here and have a good life here. I want Ottumwa to be a place of peaceful and good neighborhoods and place where there's employment for folks. I see the city council position as really being kind of a servant to the people. And so I'm here to hear what people have to say. When there's decisions that need to be made in the city council, I like to check with other friends and neighbors and people, see what they think about some of the ideas. And that helps me in making a decision on my votes and so on. I believe that we have a great town, and I want to be a servant to help that go better if I can. And also, I believe that we are a servant as council members. We are a servant to the city staff because it's required by law that they have things considered by a council and voted on by a council. And so it's an important job that people need to do. And too often people kind of pass by this position. It does take work. It can be kind of consuming at times. However, I believe it's important, and if I can help the city of Ottumwa in this way, I'm willing to do so.
Thank you. Dreister.
My name's Ian Tracer. I'm a chemistry teacher at the high school, and my wife is a physics teacher there alongside with me. And I have a 4-year-old son that currently goes to Pickwick. And I have a formal education in environmental science from Iowa State University, and I focused on Iowa soil and watershed management. And what I want to do is, ultimately, all of this leads to, I want to make Ottumwa a place where people are happy to live. A place where people outside of Ottumwa can see, that's a good place to live. I want to live there. And what that takes is acknowledging the fact that Ottumwa is like a hamster on a wheel that's been going around and around recycling the same ideas for a really long time, trying to beg for the industries to come back, the exact same industries that may have left. What we really need to do is we need to recognize where I lived in Northeast Iowa growing up, there are very small towns that have fully dissolved because they're competing with the bigger towns. We are the bigger town right now. We need to acknowledge that we're competing with each other. We need to diversify from the other towns. We need something that sets us apart. We need long-term goals that we can follow to establish that. We need to support each other in that. We need to establish an atmosphere of that support. That may even involve taking risks, gambling, like opening up new opportunities for different industries we may not have considered. Like it may be trying to push online programs to help with various work that we are uncomfortable with, but we can get there. We can make it happen. We need to see where the world is going and try to follow it. Try to make that happen. Get rid of the anxiety of what will happen and think, what will we do? That's it.
Thank you. So the first question is, would you discuss why you would be a good candidate for City Council? And we'll be starting with Galloway.
Can you read that one more time? I just want to
Could you discuss why you would be a good candidate for City Council?
Yeah, so I feel I'm a good candidate for City Council because like I said earlier, I'm already on the City Council, and not that that always means that you are the best candidate, but I am a candidate or a council person that comes prepared for meetings. I put countless hours in understanding what is on our agenda, pushing back, asking questions. I'm not afraid to push back. I like to say that I do have a backbone, and that I'm not going to allow, I'm not just going to push things. I'm sorry, I'm giving you feedback. I'm not just going to push things through because someone said it or recommended it. If it is not what's best for Ottumwa, then we need to have conversations about that and really find out what is best for Ottumwa. I'm going to listen to people. I pride myself on when I get a call or an email, I pride myself on being one of those people that returns those calls and follows up. And if I haven't, I will, and I apologize if you've emailed me and I haven't, because that's not something that I do, and I pride myself on that. So I'm here to listen. I'm here to push back on ideas, and I'm here to make Ottumwa better. And I agree with Ian over here that we do need to think outside the box, because there's a lot of opportunity that we are overlooking because we have this idea of what Ottumwa was, but we need to look at where Ottumwa's going.
Hernandez, same question.
I think, could you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
Discuss why you would be a good candidate for City Council.
With my background in urban planning, I believe that I can bring in different strategies to make Ottumwa look at different perspectives, as well as I'm bilingual too, so I know that 16% of Ottumwa from the last census is Latino, so I can communicate and break that bridge between those two communities, because that's a big, large population that we have to also take into account. They bring in different ideas, and then we can also expand on that and grow Ottumwa in that manner. Also, in my career, I am also responsible with creating agendas, setting up minutes, creating different commissions, and also creating just a different environment to create different ideas between the entities that I'm involved in with the Area 15 organizations, as well as the Main Street Ottumwa and we just exchange ideas, and also just very involved with different entities.
That one's good. Reed, same question.
So, since I have been on the council for a year, I was completing a term there. I do have some good experience of being on there. I have always tried to come to a council meeting prepared with questions and thoughts about things. I have researched those items. I've spent time to do that. And I believe that I do have a servant's heart in, I want to help our people. When people call and have a problem with parking or they have a problem with trash, listen, I'm willing to go there. If there's a problem between them and the city, I have on several occasions gone there, cleaned things up so that things could get smoothed over. I want people to enjoy being here. I don't want somebody to feel like, well, this city is not listening to me. I do want to listen. I do want to respond. In fact, literally show up at their house and help them with the problem. And so my desire is to help in that way, and I think that's what the council members need to be. They need to be servants of the people, ready to help in whatever way we can. Thank you.
Trester, same question.
A couple of the main qualities I think would make me good for a city council position is the absolute number one is I have a life that's dedicated to learning. If I don't know something or I'm not an expert in a certain topic, I'm not going to make a conclusion and jump to an end goal when I don't actually know about it. I'm going to defer to experts 100% of the time. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to learn about it. Also, I have a science background. That leads me to think in any decision we make, gather evidence about it. Maybe that means polling our community, seeing where their thoughts actually lie. I don't think the community is involved enough in those decision-making processes. We can look at various data of what other cities have done. A lot of cities have made their data public. We can just use that. It's easy to get. Also, we can analyze data on spending. I am really good with spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. They're awesome. And also, I have a young family here, and I've decided to live here for the long term. I really like what the school district's doing, and I want to support that. And I want to expand what I've done for the community to everyone else with that long-term goal in mind. I don't like starting something and expecting someone else to finish it. I want to see that through. I want to actually be there to not just hand it off, to actually make it happen. And I'm very open-minded. I'm going to look for new ideas, and I'm going to accept if I'm wrong, maybe someone else does have the right idea, and I should be willing to accept that.
Dupre, same question.
I think I bring to the table a lot of strong skills between my work experience in the office environment and also the medical, because the Bachelor of Science degree in nursing is one of the hardest degrees to achieve. So I'm not afraid of challenges. I'm a good planner. I'm very organized. My husband will attest to that. On our 25th anniversary, I had it all lined what we were doing. So I come prepared. I put things together. I'm always thinking. When I get something on my mind, I'm constantly writing down ideas and taking different approaches and researching and looking deeper into a problem. I would listen to all of you, the constituents, to say, give me your input. Am I missing something? I like to collaborate with colleagues. I would be going to the department heads, finding out what we need to do. And I'd be eager to do that. Like I said, I like challenges, especially new challenges. I'm willing to try. Thank you.
Next question, starting with Hernandez. Can you address your opinions of the tax increases over the past year and your personal experience?
So I come from a low-income family, so I had to see my mother, single mother. She also worked in the production plant in JBS. She had to struggle with payment bills and also with property taxes. So I would try to stretch as much as possible the existing taxes. That way we don't have to constrain on our residents on on an increase of taxes. We can figure out different ways, such as looking for different solutions. I was looking at different communities that might have vacant property options, which we could try to increment and then try to involve it with maybe creating some type of infill development. That way we can have more residents within that area, because we already have the existing infrastructure. So might as well take advantage of that, building a new development within that. That way we bring in more tax dollars and we don't have to increase the amount of taxes within the residents. And then also just bring in more people into Ottumwa. That way that money can go to different amenities and resources and infrastructures. That way we can support that. Thank you.
Reed, same question.
So I'm sure everyone here would love to see taxes reduced. That's obviously a goal for everyone. Taxes are a regressive thing. They penalize you for doing the right thing. Make your house a little bit better, more valuable, you get to pay more property tax. And so they tend to be regressive. We always want to reduce taxes. And you know, in a perfect world, there wouldn't be any taxes. But you know, when you look at our budget and the people that our fire, our streets, our police, you know, what do we want to go without in order to lower those taxes? That's the question. And so it's not an easy thing. And you want our community to thrive, we want businesses to thrive, and we want businesses that will bring in money from outside our city. That's true income to Ottumwa. If we're just trading income around in Ottumwa, that doesn't really help us a lot. We need, so to help us with our money, we need money coming in from outside. And we'd like to see taxes lowered. That's a lot of work to make that happen.
Thank you. Tracer, same question.
A big thing that comes with the increase in taxes, and I know since I've bought my house, my taxes have just about doubled. And that hurt a lot because I was not necessarily intending for that to happen when I did my long-term budgeting. That hurt a lot, and that caused a lot of anxiety. And I recognize the taxes being spent, and a lot of that money may be going directly to help me. As a part of the anxiety in there, it would be great to know where it's going. If I know the money is going back to something that's helping me, if that's publicly advertised, communicated clearly, I think there's a significant lack in communication from the city. There can be more like, if we have a project, we could print it, share it out, make that more publicly available outside of just Facebook so people can see that, gather that information. It can help ease that anxiety. But to actually make it better in the future, what we need to do is, yeah, we need to look in industries, but also going back to how I opened, we need to think about new industries, not just bringing back the same old industries. Where can we diversify? Is there a thing we can try to fill in with like 2-year degrees or random programs that help us bring in something different?
Thank you. Dupre, same question.
The Ottumwa's taxes, it's my understanding, were changed at the state government. What they'd planned for was not what ended up happening. So we're now, the city is faced with a very complex budget in the first place, and now we have to figure out how and where to cut. If you look at the budget that they put out in 2026, it says right there, there's not gonna be enough money the way things are going. So we can't go back to our people and tax more. We have to go into the budget and look and see. When you have that many different layers of where the buckets of tax levies go, and there's general fund and then there's a special fund, you can't take one from another. So you have to take each one and dissect them separately. But you've got to look and see if there's places where we might save or where we can cut or where we can downsize. The other thing that we can do is we do need to bring more industry in. More industry would bring, with higher paying jobs, they would pay more taxes. It's just one thing feeds another. Thank you.
Galloway, same question.
So I'll try to say some things that haven't been said, but that's going to be a little hard. But as we know, our property values are lower than in many larger or comparable cities. So even when we spend less per person, our rate has to be higher just to fund services like police, fire, and infrastructure. So, as for a long time, we've been holding pretty steady with just our regular taxes, but we have hit a breaking point. Costs have gone up, infrastructure is aging, and then the state passed what you were referencing, House File 718, which stripped stripped us of that local flexibility on how we can collect money, new expenditures. It also made us merge levies into one levy. So we lost, I think in the first year, we lost like $600,000 to that. So when the Des Moines politicians talked about tax relief, it didn't help us. So hopefully we'll get some relief with that. But it's not a problem that gets fixed overnight. It takes time. So we have to have those strategic investments, not only in businesses, but in housing and in quality of life, because people want to come to communities that have those quality of life things, and that's what we're trying to do. But again, it's not going to be fixed overnight, and I recognize our taxes are high. I recognize that, and we want to do something to change that, but we have to be creative, we have to bring things, and we have to be strategic with that.
Next question, number 2, and we'll start with Reed. How do you feel about enhancing city codes and enforcing city codes to protect property values?
It's important that people respect their neighbors and do things that are going to help their neighbors. One of the reasons a person should keep their property up is because not only for their own benefit and for their own enjoyment of life with their property, but it also helps their neighbor have a better property value and keeps the property values up. City codes are sometimes needed to encourage people to not let something get run down. There's a thing about not parking vehicles in the front yard and things like that. And I think those have their place. But if we're really being the neighbors and the people we ought to be, you wouldn't need those codes. But unfortunately, in this life, you do. Because we should always be thinking about not only our own family, but how can we help the city be better? How can we help our neighborhood look nicer and be more valuable? How can we have a neighbor across the street that's having a hard time, with that yard mowing or whatever. Be willing to help them out rather than them getting in trouble with the city and having to have it mowed for a fee or something. So yes, sometimes we have to have city codes to make things work, but to be the neighbors we ought to be, we'd be taking care of a lot of those things on our own. Thanks.
Traster, same question.
I have somewhat of a different take on that. I think city ordinances and trying to maintain properties is one thing, trying to enforce them is one thing, but I think what we should actually focus on is just making it easier to maintain your house. People are tired. We may come home to very few resources, very little time. Maybe you got multiple kids who are very upset with you on that day, for example, for me, because they did not nap. We need to leverage what we have. It's really hard to find someone to do small jobs. It's getting impossible to find people on the internet as it gets more and more bogged down with various things. For example, we can make a listing on the Ottumwa webpage. Let's partner with people willing to do small jobs for less pay than like a larger group, contractors. I don't need contractors to fix some bricks in my house. I just need to find someone with that skill that's willing to do it for a reasonable price. Or we could also leverage, for example, the high school has a lot of students with Silver Cord. They're always looking for volunteer hours. Can we talk to them about assisting with the community, helping with this upkeep? We need to make it easier, not enforce and say, do it. That's my opinion on it.
Thank you. Dupre, same question.
The city ordinances are put in place so that we have those rules to follow. And with our current department, there's only 2 inspectors that actually go out and do those city inspections. So they're never going to reach all of the properties around us. We have a 1 week where we do Make Ottumwa Shine. Make Ottumwa Shine shouldn't be 1 week out of the year. Make Ottumwa Shine should be something that happens year-round. We should take that pride. We need that curb appeal, not only for the family that's trying to sell their house on your block, but also for the investor that's coming and looking at our town. So yes, we do need to enforce those deficiencies on the code, but we also need to help one another. And, you know, if we went block by block, you know, form neighborhood cleanup crews, do something that inspires people to take pride back in their home. We used to be an all-American city. We used to be one of the cleanest cities in Iowa. Today, we are not.
Galloway, same question.
So first off, I want to give our code enforcement department props because for being such a small department, they are doing a fantastic job. And often they'll go to conferences and be asked questions like as experts in their field. So I just want to throw those props out. But I would also echo some of the things that we're saying. I think that code and ordinances are important, especially ones that can be followed, the ones that we can enforce. If we have code and ordinances that cannot be enforced, then we need to relook at those. But I also like the idea of, I moved from a phenomenal neighborhood on North Fellows, and we helped each other out so much. And getting back to those neighborhood identities too. But, you know, if you notice your neighbor's lawn's a little long, can you go and help them? Kind of like a few of us were saying too. But even if we're able to work together with the high school and team up with the city and so you say, the city puts a notice on your door and says, hey, these are some people that you can contact for assistance. I think that would be a phenomenal partnership. But it also helps us get our city clean. It gets experience in the hands of youth, which I'm all about because those are the people we want to stay and we want those connections to our community. And those are how we drive those connections. So in long story short, yes, ordinances are important, enforcing is important, and partnerships are important.
Hernandez, same question.
Yes, I believe that ordinance are important, especially zoning and also nuisance, to respect our neighbors. It's not just impacting the person, the homeowner, it's impacting the surrounding neighborhoods. So I think it's important to provide the resources if they're struggling with their nuisance challenges or code enforcements, and also providing different just like phone numbers, such as like maybe a volunteer group, or also maybe like all the other candidates mentioned, the high school volunteering for their silver cord. Those are great options, but I think code enforcement needs to be there. We can't make it lenient just because it's going to impact the surrounding neighborhood, and we all live in our neighborhoods, and we all want to enjoy our neighborhoods being kept up. So I think we should just work together, find partnerships, also look for volunteers, and if anything, just help out a neighbor if they need something, because I know we have a larger elderly population, and some residents do struggle to do maintenance on their property, and also just provide them those resources that we do have here. Thank you.
Question number 3, we'll be starting with Traster. It's a little bit longer, so listen. Both mayoral candidates have been asked questions about their vision and their concerns for the city, and they have each responded in both very general and in very specific terms. Ottumwa's form of city government is based upon a city manager and a city council. The mayor does not have a vote or supervisory oversight. How do you see your role working in relationship with the city manager and the city council? And that would start with Traster.
So, just to clarify, I said, how do they believe I would work with the city manager, the admit Philip Rath?
So you want me to read the question again?
Yes, please. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Both mayoral candidates have been asked the question about their vision and their concerns for the city, and they each responded in both very general and in very specific terms. Ottumwa's form of city government is based upon a city manager and city council. The mayor does not have a vote or supervisory oversight. How do you see your role working in relationships with the city manager and city council?
Okay.
You good? Me neither.
Assuming I'm interpreting the question correctly, I have a lot of faith in Phil, our city administrator's Philip Rath, and I have a lot of faith in him. He is well educated in the matter. He's been doing this for a very long time, and if he says something, I'm inclined to listen to him. Like I said in my opening statement, I'm going to listen to the experts. If there's something he knows that I don't, he's willing to share it, I'm going to listen to him. And if there's something he is adamantly telling us, please don't do that, I don't believe I'm in a place to necessarily question him that much. I will absolutely do what the city council should do and reach out to the community and hear what they have to say and provide my own opinion based on the data I have gathered. But I will absolutely balance those two. I will listen to what he has to say. He's in the position for a reason.
Dupre, same question.
I think the working relationship with the city administrator is one that he's like a COO of a large company. And he has to report to the city council for the information on what he's proposing or what he's wanting us to do. So he provides us with the information, and then it's up to us to dissect that and determine what direction we feel that is best for the city. As far as the relationship with the mayor and the city council, the mayor is the head representative to the community for the city itself. He would go to all of the meetings. He guides us and keeps us on point in our city council meetings. He also goes and makes presentations or determines what's possibly lacking within the city and gives us some other input so that we can discuss that amongst ourselves and maybe take a new direction on some of these proposals. Thank you.
Thank you. Galloway, same question.
Yeah, so in my role currently on the city council, I meet with our city administrator on the regular. I meet with him weekly. However, that has turned into many times a week, many phone calls, because if there's things on the agenda or I'm hearing things, he's the first person I'm calling to say, I need more information on this. You know, you've identified this, but I need more information on this. I take something that stayed with me from former Mayor Lazio, trust but verify. So trust them, but we're going to verify that information by asking questions. I'm going to also talk to my other city council people, I'm not going to make a running quorum, I promise that. But, you know, sometimes you have a question and you want to ask, am I understanding this correctly? And that's also where I see the mayoral role too. I'm going to ask, hey, for example, Mayor Johnson is in the office, so I will go to him and I'll say, hey, I've been brought this information. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? How are you understanding this? So again, I think that trust but verify, trust that we're being brought the information with our city administrator, but we're going to verify that and we're going to push back and ask questions to ensure that that's accurate.
Thank you. Hernandez, same question.
I think that we need to follow the professionals, such as our city manager, Phil, and also follow the visions that we've received from our comprehensive plan, also the legacy visions, because they all tie in together. They collect public input, community engagement events that we have received, and also had received comments from different entities and different visions that the community has saw in different areas. So I think following that is respecting the views that participate in the community of Ottumwa. That way we have a vision and we're working towards it, because we always are diversifying, changing, and having different methods of reaching with the comprehensive plan, but then also checking in with our fellow city council members, and then just re-justifying that we have that vision and we're aligning with those goals in mind. Thank you.
Reed, same question.
So I've been impressed with our city staff, our administrator, our mayor, our finance director, our clerk's office, and the department heads. I feel like they work very hard to do a good job, and I've always appreciated their availability. If I need something, oftentimes I'm just walking in unexpected to see them. Obviously, I do meet with our administrator each week at a regular time, but there's other times where you just walk in and are able to ask a question. And I've always gotten the impression from our mayor, our administrator, from the different ones that if I feel we'll need to push back or to kind of challenge an idea a little bit, they've been completely open to that. They've never been difficult to deal with, or, hey, you can't question my ideas. I've never picked that up at all from them. And so I feel like they are worthy of being followed, but at the same time, they expect us to verify what they've put forward. They aren't expecting us just to rubber stamp what's out there. And so I believe it's a good team. It's a team effort. You're working with these men, these people, to get the job done for the city of Ottumwa.
Thank you. Next question, we'll be starting with Dupre. What specific steps would you have taken to make sure all cultures and ethnic groups feel represented and included in city decisions?
I believe that we're the city of Ottumwa. We're not specific groups. I think that just to, like, for my instance, my neighborhood, we just had someone move in next door that it's from Taiwan. 2 doors down, someone that's Latino. Behind me, another Latino. But I don't look at our neighborhood as being culturally one neighborhood over another. I think we're just Ottumwa. I think there was more division in our town back when we were the north side versus the south side, which was a social economic development. I mean, it was based on money then. It was the people up on the north side had more money than the people on the south side. I think that Ottumwa overall is very diverse culturally within all neighborhoods. I don't see that we have that. I think that every decision that we make should be based on what is best for the city, not what is best for one group versus another.
Galloway, same question.
Could you repeat the question one more time for me?
What specific steps would you have taken to make sure all cultural and ethnic groups feel represented and included in the city decisions?
So I think that there's specific steps that I have shown that I've taken because I think Ottumwa is the culture and the diversity that we are. That's what makes Ottumwa great. And whether it's ensuring that our code enforcement team ensures that we have forms in another language so that people are understanding what is actually coming to them, or making sure that if someone does come and speaks a different language, we have our language line too. But we've also talked about to the HR department of how can we get people that look and represent our culture and our community behind the desk, so that everyone is seeing themselves in who we are. I mean, we can look at the different celebrations that I go, because Ottumwa is so great that I want to make sure that, you know, when I'm sitting behind here and it's the end of the meeting and we have a celebration coming up, you know, I'll make sure, if the mayor hasn't said it already, I'll make sure to let people know. But I do believe that when we have our housing studies and our 2040 comprehensive plan, we try to invite and ensure that everyone's at the table so that we truly have a plan that represents everyone, because Ottumwa is the people and we all look different.
Hernandez, same question.
I think just being available, just making sure everyone's voice is heard, not just the diverse community, but also just everyone, just making yourself available, having contact available, emails, also attending any festivals that are out there, just to ensure that everyone knows what's going on with the city ordinance, and then also just anything that's happening within the community. Just reaching out to different business owners, stakeholders, and making sure that they also are aware that this is going to impact their ordinance or changes within the community. Also, and then you mentioned diversity, but also just be considerate of the youth as well, because the youth also are going to be here longer than myself, which I'm relatively young, but but we just have to ensure that everyone's voice is heard, and we just have to be all one community.
Reed, same question.
America is a melting pot country. People from all nations have come here. You know, you can go to China, but you're never going to be Chinese if you're not Chinese already. But you can come to America and you can be an American. And I believe it's important that we treat all people with respect and treat people equally. And I think it's important that we make our neighbor across the street or wherever that maybe has a different nationality or some other different cultural thing, we welcome them, we talk to them, we include them, and we just try to treat people the same. Everyone's treated equally in a friendly and kind way, and no one excluded. I think it is good too, if there's a festival, if there's something that maybe you're not familiar with, but you could go to a Hispanic festival or something like that, in my case, and be more familiar with some of their characteristics, some of their cultural things. I think it's good to be very inclusive with those things and genuinely receive them as Ottumwans.
Tracer, same question.
All right. My personal opinion on this is we cannot go forever saying, let's not elevate anyone, let's treat everyone equally. I don't feel mad at them, I'm not doing anything against them, my decision doesn't hurt them. We need a significant mindset shift because we are not living in a post-split by race or ethnicity or culture world. We are still very much separated. We cannot act like we're past it. I hear open racism regularly. It happens. We need to acknowledge it. And our fastest growing group in Ottumwa are immigrants. They may be the future of what this town is. We need to actively go out, involve them, gather info from them. What do you need? For example, we got Marshallese population that's growing greatly in Ottumwa. Do we ask them, hey, what makes you feel comfortable in Ottumwa? What can we actually provide you? Because I know they may not be here today. There's significantly one group that is represented in all of these meetings. It's not widespread. People are not being included. We got to reach out for them. We got to do something to actively include people, not act like it isn't something we got to focus on. It's happening. We're past it. We're not. That's it.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Galloway. What changes would you like to see implemented to attract new businesses?
So I kind of touched on this a little. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm terrible with this mic. I touched on this a little bit earlier. So we need to have strategic like I said. But what does that mean? So as you can see, if you look around Ottumwa, especially around the river, we've been doing a lot of quality of life things. Quality of life is a true indicator of how we're going to get different businesses or how people to come build houses, because they want to look around and say, I have things to do. So if we want doctors to come here or business CEOs to bring their businesses, we have to have things to do. So we are on the path to something great with our sports complex, with our soccer fields, with our inclusive park, with some of the things that we are wanting to do along the river. Like, these are the things that we need to attract the businesses. We can't just say, well, we want these industries to come back if we have nothing for them to come back to. And Ottumwa is great, and we're becoming even better, but we have to have those quality of life things, because like you, Hector said over here, we have youth that are going to come, and if people don't have things for their youth to do, they're not going to want to bring their youth, and that's what's going to attract those businesses. So I think that continuing to have strategic investments in quality of life and different housing opportunities are going to naturally attract new businesses, not just those industries that we've been in before.
Hernandez, same question.
I think we need to find a balance, because everything's important. Quality of life, our infrastructure, just code enforcement. I think everything's important, and we need to find a balance, a sweet balance in it. It might take a little bit to adjust the budget, but I think finding a balance, looking for grant opportunities that could provide and stretch our dollars more, because those state and federal dollars are out there, and we can look for those and look for projects that meet those qualities and visions that we have in the comprehensive plan, and also just ask around. And like Kara said, it's like just ask the youth what's making them leave, asking what they want to see in the community, because it's they are the ones that are the future of the workforce, and if we are able to obtain them, we can go ahead and look for different matters to diversify the economy. So just looking for those new funding sources for grants, and then also just asking the youth what's maybe just seeing if they're more entrepreneur, so we could see if we can kind of find a balance in between that.
Reed, same question.
Could you read the question again for me?
What changes would you like to see implemented to attract new businesses?
Thank you. The main concern that I have about new business and things coming in is we want to make it, I believe we need to invest in Ottumwa, we need to give them some incentives. If they don't receive incentives from us to come, they're just going to get an incentive from the next town down the road. They're going to get somebody to do something for them as far as infrastructure or tax abatement or something that's going to cause them to want to go there instead of here. I think it's important that we give incentives in that way. And I think it's also important, if new businesses are going to come and they're going to bring their management team, they are going to look around and see what houses, what homes can my team find to live in. And so it's so important that we get some good quality housing. And one of the priorities to me is that St. Joe area out there, that has to get developed. And I believe we need, as a city, invest in that piece of property to get the streets in there, to get the sewer and the water in there. The Traxler addition happened because Charlie Traxler built streets and sewer and water in there, and now there's nice houses built on those streets. We have to invest. If we want somebody else to invest in houses, the city has to invest first. And so invest in those companies, invest in housing.
Tracer, same question.
Very widespread answer here. If we are looking at businesses in Ottumwa and trying to get more businesses here, I think we do need to keep asking large corporations and retail to come here. Don't give up on that, but we can't focus on that. Corporations are past the point of, or moving past the point of gambling on small towns. They don't want to take risks. They want what will make us the most money. Small towns aren't really it, but what can we offer here are our small businesses, our wide, diverse cultures with restaurants, stores, different crafts, made goods. We can bring those here. If someone travels to a city like Iowa City, they don't tell people around them, oh, I really loved the Target they had to offer. They say, this falafel was awesome. This bookstore, incredible. I was so happy there, cozy. I want to go back. And they go back there. For those, they don't go back there for the Targets. It would be nice to catch people, bring them in here for it, but the small businesses are it. And in order to do that, it ties back to my mindset shift. We need to support people, make people feel comfortable here. Like they want to move here, open a business. They feel like they're going to have people go there, feel comfortable supporting them with open arms. And also, as many have said, I do think we need to keep working on making our city look appealing to these people. I think our fields are a great stretch to get there. I drive past there, and it makes me happy seeing it. It's great. A lot of people use it. We could also go back to what I was saying about, can we find people that will help paint houses? How can we get people's names out there? There are people willing to do that for cheaper than you would expect, but you can't find them. Advertise them, work with people in our city that are willing to put in that time. It's all of that together with that long-term goal of actually seeing it through, having that set step guidelines.
Dupre, same question.
To bring industry in, obviously we need to make the city look better, and we've already talked about that, and I've told you my ideas on that. But we do, like Dan said, we do need to invest back. We have to show investors that we're willing to invest in our future too. But we also need to have our own city not put ourselves down. So we have to be more positive. We can't be this negative Nancy all the time about how we look or how we, this isn't going to work. See number 7, we've always done it that way. We've got to look outside of that. One of the ways you could do that is by going out to Indian Hills. Indian Hills has some wonderful, wonderful programs. I took a tour of there. They have cybersecurity, they have a laser technology, they have automotive diesel, automotive gas, they have a nursing program to die for. I'm telling you, I went through their sim lab. If I'd been a student, I would almost go back, I think, because it was so wonderful. And we only, unfortunately, have one class a year. So we really need to get those students' input because those are the companies we need to seek to bring here so they get educated here and stay here. The other thing is there's a possibility that it could become a 4-year college, and that would be a wonderful thing because 4-year college towns grow.
Thank you. This is the end of the City Council's question session. We will be trading seats now, and we'll ask for the councilmen to move away from the table at this time.
Were we going to? Yes.
Okay, so let me start with Hernandez. Closing.
Well, thank you for hosting us, Leagues of Women. I am very optimistic about the future. I just really appreciate all the development that has happened throughout the community. We have to celebrate those small wins in order for us to have that vision and be able to be excited for the future. And like I said, it's like I'm really looking forward to representing the city of Ottumwa. I provide that different background. I come from that diverse background, but and then I can also break that barrier between the community, and yeah, thank you for hosting.
I echo that. Thanks for hosting this forum so that we can get to know. It not only helps you guys to know, it helps us to say it. But a lot of good things have been happening in Ottumwa lately. And I feel like Ottumwa is on the verge of some really good progress. And so I encourage all of us, okay, so we have a city staff that's working hard to help Ottumwa be good. We've got GoPip and Legacy, and I hate to start mentioning names because I'm going to leave somebody out. Mm-hmm. We've got Main Street, we've got Rippling Waters, we've got even the people who run the Bridgeview Center, they're all pulling hard to help our city. We all need to grab the rope and help pull and help go in the same direction to make the progress we need to make. Our city will be what we make it to be. This is our city to take care of, to provide for. And so I really think that it's important that we carefully consider that and make sure that we are positive about our city and seek to go in a positive direction. So, thank you.
Traister?
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak here. And also, I'm going to make this quick. Ottumwa has potential. We need to recognize that. We're in a really good situation being where we are and the size we are in the south of Iowa where there's not a lot around us. If we are the first in the area to make these changes and not be afraid of significant changes and mindset shifts, we can succeed, and it may be the only way to do so. This may involve doing things that you haven't thought of, maybe even things I haven't thought of, but we got to try it.
Thank you. Dupre?
First, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight. And serving on the City Council is not about promoting personal agendas. It's about being a steward of the community's resources and a voice for the people that live here. A council member's role is to listen, to weigh all sides for every issue, and to make responsible decisions to balance today's needs for tomorrow's future. As I said, I bring 27 years of experience working in an office alongside CPAs, builders, and manufacturers. I've learned to navigate budgets, projects, and complex problems. Later, I returned to school and went on to get a nursing degree because I care deeply about the health and well-being of the place I live and the people around me. A combination of financial, practical, and people-centered experience gives me a balanced perspective when I look at the city. If elected, I will show up prepared. I will ask the hard questions. I'll make the hard decisions. I believe in building a community where families feel secure, businesses can grow, and every resident has a seat at the table. Together, let's build a healthier, stronger Ottumwa. Please vote for me next November 4th.
Galloway?
So Ottumwa has made progress, but we all know there's more work to do, especially when it comes to our roads, our neighborhoods, and overall quality of life. These aren't quick fixes, but I believe in being honest about the challenges and practical about the solutions. Partnerships are how we move forward between the city, nonprofits, businesses, residents, and residents who care deeply about this community. And we've already seen what happens when we work together. Momentum builds, projects get done, and pride returns to Ottumwa. Moving forward, like I've said multiple times, we need strategic investments in our infrastructure, our local businesses, housings, and future developments, the kind that make us maybe a bit uncomfortable, but that attract new opportunity, but without losing who we are as a community. I don't shy away from tough conversations, and I don't show up just to say yes. I show up to get things done. Ottumwa deserves a council that's willing to put in the work, listen with intention, and fight for Ottumwa today, but also for Ottumwa tomorrow. Again, if you don't know who I am, I'm Kara Galloway. I'm invested here, I'm raising my daughter here, and I'm ready to keep working for Ottumwa's future. And again, thank you for having me.
Thank you to all the city council candidates, and we'll just be ready for the next group. There we go. So the first question is, please discuss why you would be a good candidate for mayor. Give an example of how you worked with others to meet your goal. You're right. That's what you were telling me. And here I don't know what my thing is with opening and closing statements, but we should do that. So Brenda, we'll have you go first.
My name is Brenda Case. I've been a resident of Ottumwa for about 50 years. I went through school here for the most part. We moved, at high school. But I love my town, and I have for a long time. I've got 28 years of experience with the Iowa courts, and my office was in Des Moines, and I made Des Moines wages, which were great. But then I moved back to Ottumwa, and I stayed here on purpose, because I took my Des Moines salary and my Ottumwa cost of living, and it was a wonderful thing. And I hope that more people can do remote work and stay somewhere like this. It worked out very well for me. As a project manager, what those people do is they take large and complex problems, break them down into easily digestible, accomplishable bites, and then they get people to do the work without really any additional pay or favors or promotions. So it might be charm, maybe, but more likely it's motivation. We find out what people need to feel good about their job, and we give it to them. And we need to figure out what people, what's in their way. Why are they not accomplishing their job? Why are they not feeling good? Why are they not performing at the top? And when we identify those obstacles, someone like me comes in and just gets them out of the way so that people are free to practice their profession. And that brings happiness and satisfaction and things that can be really missing in jobs. And I am an expert at that. So that allowed me to, in that 28 years, bring in more projects on time, on budget, and on quality, on target for quality than any of the other 6 people in the state who did what I did. So I'm proud of that, and I want to bring that kind of management skill to Ottumwa.
Thank you. Foot?
Yeah, my name is Ben Foote. I am committed to be mayor of Ottumwa. And if you've heard anything that I've said throughout this campaign, I really lean on identity. And the reason I do that is because I think for us to really knowing who we are is an essential step in knowing who we're going to be. And so that's why I've really hammered on identity and what the identity of Ottumwa is. And that's why I've talked about the people in our past that have created the identity of Ottumwa, people like General Street and Chief Wapello, who worked together to bring peace here to this region so that this city could be founded. For people like Joseph Dane, who invented a new hay baler, brought his business here to Ottumwa so he could thrive as a business, and in doing so, now we have a John Deere plant in Ottumwa. For people like Steve Bales, who was an engineer at NASA during the Apollo 11, and his job was to be the last person that would make a decision whether they would abort the mission or not, and he decided not to, and so we were able to land on the moon. It's that identity and those people in our past that have created who we are today. Just like me knowing who I am as a mayoral candidate, as someone in Ottumwa, I know what my identity is, that I am a Christian man. I am a husband and a father and a grandfather. I am an architect, and as an architect, I've been trained in lots of different ways to where I can see multiple problems, multiple solutions simultaneously. I've also been trained to manage each one of the projects that I have in all aspects, from running a project all the way down to running the budget and approving the finances. So everything that I have been trained to do as an architect established me and built me for being mayor of Ottumwa. And my love and my passion for this city is what drives it all. That's where I can take the identity of who I am and fit it right into the identity of what Ottumwa is and lead into what Ottumwa could be, what Ottumwa should be, what we all want it to be.
Okay. Now we're on to our questions. The first question is, please discuss why you would be a good candidate for mayor and give an example of how you worked with others to meet your goal. And that would you, Case? Yep.
I remarked that I was thinking, that's why my mic wasn't on. It reminded me of a time where my boss wanted to know, what are you doing? You're just there in your office. What are you doing? And I had books out and I had computers on, and I said, I'm thinking. Well, he didn't like that. So he says, we don't do that here. And I, okay. But I'd like to speak to identity also. Ottumwa has an identity, and we always have. It's not in danger and has not ever been in danger. We're a strong, resilient people. We identify problems and we attack them. We thrive in every condition. We come together in unity and in trust and with skills, and we accomplish our goals. We overcome setbacks like factory closings, floods, straight wind tornadoes, and we're still here. We're still thriving. We're not the same as we were in 1940, but who was? So what I do is manage projects. Like I said, I'm positive, and I'm going to look at all the wonderful things about Ottumwa, what we do and who we are, and I'm going to shine a white-hot spotlight on those things, because our strength and our resilience together make us tough. We're Ottumwa tough, and that's why we keep kicking and we keep coming back and facing challenges together.
Foot, same question.
Okay. So some of what would make me a good mayor I've already spoken about, so I can give you more details now. The different ways an architect thinks. We think creatively. We don't think linearly. We think around an entire problem. When a problem is brought to us, we have to be able to see solutions from all different perspectives, because we're dealing with people from all different perspectives. So we have to be able to deal with people well. We have to be able to communicate the ideas and the solutions that we see would work best for them, because it's often something that they can't see themselves. So that's part of what we do. The other thing that we do is we have to know how to network. There are other people involved besides the architect to bring a project like what we're seeing here together. There's contractors and subcontractors. There's administration staff for each one of them. There's engineers. There's of all sorts, whether it be mechanical or electrical or sound, lighting. All of that stuff brings a whole team of people specializing in what they do, and they need someone to bring it all together and to work towards a single vision that solves the problem that they've been given. That's what an architect does. An architect brings all of those pieces together within a budget that they've been given to accomplish a mission that the owner has brought to them that they want to see happen. So that's where what I have been gifted with fits perfectly with being mayor of Ottumwa.
So I'm going to go with the next question, and I'm going to start with you, Fudd. In order to bring in business and industry, we need to improve curb appeal, and we need to improve infrastructure, roads, sidewalks, parking lots, etc. We need to do something with boarded up houses and have quality, affordable housing and child care. What can you do if elected to improve these areas?
Mm-hmm. That's a lot. We've talked about them all. So the biggest thing that we can do is to make it easier for each one of those things to happen. The best way to accomplish each one of those things together is to see growth. If we don't see growth, we have to increase our tax revenue. And if you were here for the city council portion, they were talking about if we don't have it in our budget, where do we cut? Well, why don't we find a way to increase our budget? Instead of cutting the services, let's make the budget bigger. So how do you do that? That's growth. That's the only thing that can happen. If we don't grow, we will have to decide where to cut. But if we can learn how to grow, that's when we can grow our budget and start looking at curb appeal, streets, houses, all of those things. Now, as that develops, growth accelerates. So what I'm talking about isn't something that just happens steadily. This is something that as we take a step towards incentivizing growth, reducing property taxes would be a huge one, it multiplies upon itself. And by doing that, then the street appeal, the houses, that helps, and our property taxes are able to go down further. So, but we have to start somewhere, and that's by bringing people in, bringing businesses in. And the only way I'm hearing is to get our property taxes down.
Okay, same question.
I think that all of these wants are interrelated. Things like quality daycare, new housing, better curb appeal, all directly relate back to community pride. So we can be poor and also be clean. And our grandparents were, and our parents were. It doesn't cost anything to pull the weeds in your front yard, but it does require some self-esteem. So if we accentuate what's positive in our city and in our lives, we'll motivate people, we'll release depression. I think we also need to get to work on the sidewalks so that people can move around, because physically moving helps improve that mood and that mental outlook. It helps our mental health. We can rely on experts like JBS. I went and visited with them recently, had a tour and talked to the HR. They're doing great things for their employees. They helped over 100 families purchase new homes just by coaching them through money management and their on-site community first credit union. They help people find childcare and by subsidizing parts of the YMCA. So we can follow those kinds of things. And one of the big problems with childcare is there are grants available to start a daycare, but that's not really the problem. Isn't starting. The problem is keeping it running, because people take time off or they don't have grandma stays with the kids one day of the week, but you still have to pay for that whole week. The parents are salaried, but the daycare providers are not. So if you miss a day, your child that you're sitting doesn't come and they don't pay, you can't run, you can't keep food and toys and all the things necessary for a successful child care without any assistance. So I think the things that we can do for ourselves that way is increase our community pride, and that's free.
Thank you. Next question is for Foote. What would you do to help keep the hospital open as well as hospice, which has recently closed?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one of the things that we've seen with the hospital is just a continual carousel of the ones running it. And so it's been really hard as we see CEOs come and go. I believe Mayor Johnson gave me a stat that it was basically averaging one a year over the past 6-7 years, if I remember right. That carousel and that lack of consistency makes it really hard to maintain and to retain physicians, nurses. So I think finding a way to incentivize a CEO to stay longer than a year would be huge. Now, I also know that CEOs come and go, and that's the way their business works. They typically don't stay around for more than 3 years in whatever line of work that they're in. That's what they do, is they lead companies. And then it would be a matter of working with the current CEO and trying to put together some sort of strategic plan with the owners of the hospitals to start to see some consistency for our city. The thing that makes it difficult, probably on the city side, is it's privately owned. And so ultimately it's their decision. So we would need to communicate clearly what our goals are and try to match up with what they're trying to do to, again, just get more consistency. And for the hospice, if there is some way that we can advocate to get some nonprofit organizations going, different grants, I would love to have that back in this city. Man, what a beautiful thing to have that hospice. And when I heard that was not going to be around, yeah, that is a sad thing for me to see. I would love to see that come back.
Okay, same question.
Ottumwa Regional is a for-profit business. It means their primary motivation is the dollar. And I think what we might be able to do really is advocate further for the Affordable Care Act, keep Medicare going, and lobby our state and national legislatures to make sure that medical expenses are reimbursed. People have to be able to pay for the service to keep the service in town, and that's under major threat right now. And all we can do as citizens or city leaders is to lobby for that at the state and national level. Hospice is a wonderful thing, and it's a national problem because people really are not passing away at home anymore. They're in a nursing facility, and nursing homes have their own version of hospice that are there. So we just had a market that's, well, it's kind of, maybe it's just saturated because the nursing homes provide hospice care, and then the facility that we had on Pennsylvania was wonderful, full of great people doing great things. They just didn't have patients to care for. So in those cases, there's not a great deal more that can be handled at the local level.
Okay. Next question would be for Case first. What have you done for the Latino population in our community? Please provide example.
Well, I volunteered to take someone to immigration court in Kansas City. It's a young woman with a toddler who was here with asylum. She was granted asylum. She now has a work permit. She needed to be in Kansas City in person in court in she had to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I picked her up at 1 a.m., drove her to Kansas City. We got near Lamoni, hit a deer, and completely totaled my car. So we were stuck out at, well, it was like 3 a.m. by that time, and had to do some real creative thinking. So what I did was I figured, well, after I called the sheriff and they took us, off the street, I thought, every tiny town has a rental truck, a U-Haul truck. So I called around, I found a U-Haul, got a ride there, and we rented a 15-foot box truck because that was the smallest, cheapest one that had room for a car seat, and we drove to Kansas City. We went downtown where all the traffic, all the parking is under structures. We couldn't park there. Anyways, a lot of drama happened. She got there. She met her obligations. That's how hard we tried. And then more recently, with the people that were lost their temporary status due to that being canceled nationally, I participated in a legal clinic where immigration lawyers came to Ottumwa, and we had 4 different sites that served different language populations. And my part in that was I kept those lawyers caffeinated. I took the coffee around. Everybody had coffee and donuts, candy. So that's how I showed the love to our new Americans.
Okay. Foot, same question.
Okay. First, I'll start on a personal level. I have a Latino grandson. I have a Latino daughter that we adopted from Guatemala. So that's more on a personal note, but on the city note, some of the things that I've done is working directly with Latinos in my line of business. As an architect, I get calls all the time about who I can send to come redo a bathroom or to come redo kitchens. They'll ask if I can do the plans, and I tell them how much that costs, and they decide not to. But when they ask for recommendations, there's one contractor that I always have at the top of my list, and that's Jorge Valletta. He does amazing work. He's always there. He loves people. And because of that, I can confidently recommend him before anyone else when those calls come, because I know he'll follow through and he'll do a good job. The other things that I've done is help other Latinos. Probably the big thing is working with some of the Latino pastors that are here in this city. Working with them has just been beautiful and amazing. Each one of their congregations are just so lively and ready to go. And so working with them, praying with them for the city, asking them what are things that we can do to help your congregation out to thrive within this city, that's been huge for me. And so those are a couple of the examples of how I've worked with the Latinos here in the city.
Okay. Next question, Ben, you will be first. What is your position on tax increment financing? Can you explain this process?
That's a tough question. I don't know if I can explain it very well, honestly. My understanding is tax increment financing, so TIF, is taxes that go specifically for certain things that they're identified to. And so the financing from those taxes has to be spent on the items that they're identified. I could be thinking of the wrong kind of tax, but that's my understanding, is that the taxes that they're brought in through TIF then have to go specifically for that project. So you can't use the TIF or tax increment financing towards, say, streets or anything in the general fund. Instead, they're going specifically for items that are on the budget.
Okay, thank you. Case, same question.
A TIF district is a place where it's an economic development tool whereby taxes are abated or refunded in a certain area of business in order to promote them. They get them started and get on their feet, and then taxes will later, they'll have to pay their full tax bill. And we've used those for different parts of the city to encourage business. You know, I think the mall area was one, and then the big box way out by the Menards area is another one. You know, I can't remember exactly where they all are, but that's where it is. And I think it's a really good idea to get people in and give them baby steps, give them a little break, and then once they build their business and they can pay more, that TIF district, it has to sunset so that they are eventually paying their full fair share, as that's my understanding.
Okay.
And I'm for it.
Okay. So the next question, I'm struggling with it a little bit, so be patient. The next question is going to be this one's for you first, Case. Will you support legal businesses in Ottumwa even if they are different from your personal beliefs? Particularly incumbent Dan Reed, who worked against every new and renewal liquor license that came before the council. Did you understand the question, and do I need to read it again?
I understand.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, the simple answer is yes. I will support every business that's offering a legal service or product within the city of Ottumwa. Because the mayor doesn't get a vote, but I would advocate for them because we need to encourage businesses, even if they're ones I don't like. For example, years ago I smoked cigarettes. And, you know, I don't like them very much. I think people would be a lot better off if they didn't smoke cigarettes. But I'm not going to tell an adult who grows up and they make their own money that they can't have cigarettes because I don't like it. That's not fair. And I am offended a bit by Councilman Reed's votes against new liquor licenses and even against renewing liquor licenses for bars, restaurants, gas stations. Anybody that has them, he votes against them every time they come up. And as he had said after the last council meeting that I attended, he did it because he thinks, well, in his religious view, it's wrong and bad. And he thinks we should have fun without that. So I found that offensive and against economic development. It's just wrong. So I would vote for things, I would advocate things that are good for the city, whether I personally cared for them or not, as long as they comply with the law.
Okay. Foot, the same question.
Okay. Yeah, any business that is legally being operated in the city, I would support. We'll talk specifically about liquor tobacco, because it sounds like that's the intent of the question. Chapter 123 of the State Iowa Code prohibits any city council, or mayor to revoke or remove all liquor or tobacco license in their city. It can't be done. It's against the state law. So even if I wanted to, which I don't, I wouldn't be able to. Same with the city council. Now, I understand the position that Councilmember Reed has, and I respect that he stands up for his beliefs. There are other instances throughout our state, specifically we'll say in Des Moines, where they have started to revoke or the renewal of certain alcohol licenses in certain areas. And that was simply because of the amount of violence that was coming into those areas, and so they were trying to curb that. So in that instance, there may be a time where, again, city council needs to look at each one of these individually on a case-by-case basis. That's what we've been asked to do. That's what the law of Iowa requires us to do. So it shouldn't be a yes to all. It shouldn't be a no to all. It can't. We have to look at each one individually and look at the benefit that they would have, yes, for the business, for sure, but then also the city as well, and the well-being of the city.
Okay. So Foot, the next question will start with you. As mayor, who will you advocate and support, or how will you advocate and support Ottumwa's diverse populations, such as the LGBTQ and the Latino Hispanic communities?
Well, as mayor, I would be representing the entire city of Ottumwa, including every individual or group that resides here. So with that, I would need to do that without bias. That's part of what the role requires. Some of the other ways I would advocate for each one of those is I would advocate for the different things that need to happen in this city that are non-discriminatory. For example, if you drive down Jefferson Street, it doesn't matter what group you're in. It's going to tear your car up. You could be LGBTQ, you could be Latino, you could be white. It's still going to tear your car up. So I'd be advocating for the things that affect us all. When we're trying to build a business or incentivize a new business to come in, the property taxes are the same regardless of which group you're in. So I'm advocating that we reduce those property taxes to incentivize all different people to come here. And that goes for anything else within this city, housing developments, business development, the downtown. All of those things affect us all. And so I would be advocating for the things that affect us all.
Thank you. Okay, same question.
I advocate and support alternative and other minority communities by showing up to their events. I go to their, I went to Pride Day for the first time ever last summer, and I bought some stuff. I bought their books, I ate their food, I hung out with people just to see what it was all about. And I had a great day. There were kids playing and swimming, and everybody was just families having a great time. So there had been press that was noisy and entirely inaccurate. So I had a great time then. The same with racial differences. I go to places where people are different, and I listen to their music and I eat their food, and it's not like a pothole. So it brings to equity versus equality, and the best illustration I ever saw of that was 3 people standing behind a fence. They wanted to see a baseball game. And the first one is a very tall person. He can see over the fence, no problems at all. The second one was a medium-sized person, couldn't see over the fence, but they were close. And then there was a wee small person, couldn't see anything. So equality means give them all a box that's a foot tall. So the person who could already see was way over the fence. The medium-sized person could see over the fence just a little bit, but the wee person still couldn't. So that was equal, but it didn't help anyone. So equity is the tall person doesn't need a box. The one in the middle needs, about a foot. And the other person, the wee person, needs a ladder. So give to each person what they need to be successful. So it's about kindness, dignity, respect, and it's about love. And if you don't know what somebody's about, you don't know what's in their heart, don't put them down. Don't call them names. And, the troubles right now on a national thing, it's immigrants are being treated abysmally, and legal versus illegal is confused in people's minds and in the press, and we're allowing people to be treated reprehensibly. And we're doing it with abandon. we should be deeply ashamed and knock it off.
Case, the next question will start with you. How do you plan to recruit and retain a diverse city workforce and leadership team?
I would hope that there were such a thing, and my list of friends and acquaintances from the different boards and commissions that I serve on, I meet different people, but the fact is the mayor does not select the personnel. What all the mayor can do is make this city a welcoming, positive place for people of all backgrounds to reside, and then they're naturally going to bring their skills, they'll apply for the jobs, and they'll get those jobs on their own merit. Like JBS, I toured there, and there are flags of every nationality, and the whole place is just this great cornucopia of all these wildly different people doing all these amazing jobs, and it was wonderful. And they have a lunchroom where one day they might have Ethiopian food in the hot lunch line, and then the next day they'll have like Guatemalan food, and they have all this interesting things where they promote cultures to all of their employees. And I think we could take a lesson from that.
Good, same question.
Yeah, could you repeat the question again?
How do you plan to recruit and retain a diverse city workforce and leadership team?
Yeah, as mayor, the final say as to who's part of that team isn't up to them. It's up to the city council. It's up to the administrator. However, I do believe that the mayor can play a role in that, in helping recruit people and also helping review. We heard earlier some of the things that I think is essential to make sure we have a good team is to trust but verify. We've seen examples to where that wasn't done in the past, and then that's caused problems in other communities. And with that, we need to, yes, trust recommendations of others, but then verify them themselves. And I can be a part of that. I can be a part of speaking to employees and finding out what their workday is like, and what are ways that the city can improve their workplace, and what they're doing. How can we make things smoother for them, how their family's going? And it's little things like that that help retain people. That goes way beyond a small salary increase, honestly. And so just showing how much we value them goes a long ways. And I think as mayor, not having the authority necessarily to hire fire, so to speak, but having the ability to speak into their life and to make them part of what we're doing here in the city of Ottumwa, that's how I could work in that.
Okay. Next question, you would be first, Foot. The 1015 transit system in Ottumwa has been struggling with funding and maintaining consistent service. The impact of disabilities, children, veterans, and others who rely on 1015 transit service. If elected, what specific steps would you take to support and improve the 1015 transit system and ensure reliable, secure, reliable service for those who need it the most in Ottumwa?
I guess first I'd like to ask what the premise of knowing that they are struggling is. I don't see or hear that. My understanding is that they're struggling for drivers, not for finances. And the reason I know that is because my wife is a driver for 1015. My son is the head mechanic for 1015. I'm currently doing a project with 1015. And so they're paying me to work on a project to help increase their services here in their fixed routes of Ottumwa and make those better. And part of the reason why they're doing that is because they've been struggling on how to partner with the city of Ottumwa better. So those are some of the things that I know firsthand, and that's why the premise of the question I don't think is relevant. I think 1015 is a thriving business. When I see that their management is able to purchase new vehicles, as part of 1015, that shows that they're thriving. When they're able to maintain their entire bus fleet and the car fleet regularly, they're thriving. They cover a huge area. I don't think people understand the 15 county thing, 1015, they go way beyond the range that they're in because they take people from here and they'll take them up to Des Moines and Iowa City and other medical things. So I don't see 1015 struggling. I think where they're struggling is with personnel. They need drivers, and that's what they need right now.
Okay, same question.
I think that 1015 is partially funded by Medicaid, or they provide services to people who receive Title 19, and those pay for the trips to doctors, in and out of town and scheduling. So I think advocating again for Medicaid is a right move. Ditto Medicare. And I think I would have to ask riders and managers what's really going on there, because they moved to a really nice new facility over on Madison Avenue. So I don't know if they were a little overextended with their capital. Without looking into it more closely, I really couldn't give much of an opinion. I don't know.
Okay, so the next question, start with Case. When your term is up, assuming you are elected, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a person who drew factions of the city together. I want to be known as a person that shifted our negative outlook and our trolling on the internet and our just plain mired in unhappiness, that I helped split that up. And the clouds opened a little bit and we had a little more positive outlook, that we could present ourselves better statewide. We don't want to be snickered at or have Reagan creating more T-shirts about us. I want to be remembered as somebody who came in and gave people some hope. And I spurred them into action, and that hope plus action equals change. I want us to be happier. I want us to be proud of where we are. I'd like us to be a little healthier, because we get out and do some walking, and we walk our dogs, we walk our grandmas. Let's move and just feel better, look better. We honor each other and be better.
Foot, same question.
Yeah, I would want to be remembered as a mayor that didn't just bring growth, but also brought a new identity, an identity that Ottumwa maybe hasn't seen before. It's rooted in the past, rooted in what we've done before, but also looking to the future and what new things we can do. I'd like to see Ottumwa and what I do bring that identity to where we're leaders now, not followers, to where we're no longer thought of as to where we're at in the poverty scale of the state of Iowa, but instead where's Ottumwa in the thriving status of the state of Iowa? I'd love us to take that thriving city designation that we have now and make that part of our identity permanently, not a fleeting thing. I'd love to be a mayor that when you look back, you can say this is where Ottumwa saw some of their biggest growth, because we incentivized and brought new businesses in. And with the new businesses, we saw housing explode, and we saw Ottumwa become the thriving place, the great place that we all want it to be. I want to see us be unified in that vision, unified, again, just taking that same journey that we're on, one step at a time, taking our best foot forward. So that's what I would like to be remembered.
Thank you. I've made it through all of the questions, so now we're on to closing statements. And Foot, you would go first, please.
Okay.
It's 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. So yeah, first I want to thank the League of Women's Voters of Ottumwa for putting this on. I want to thank all of you for attending. I want to thank those that will eventually see this at home, for also just seeking to be informed about what's going on in our city, the candidates that are running, the candidates that have a passion for the city. I know we all do. And I know we have different ideas of how to get there, but I know the passion is still there. And so I want to thank all of you for that. I also want to say that in order to get to where we want to be, we can't stand still anymore. We've been a town that have taken a lot of punches, and I'm tired of taking punches. Taking punches just brings fatigue. I want to see us step into the fight. I want to see us throw a punch. I want to see us grow. I want to see us move forward. I want us to encourage others to invest in what our greatest asset here is in Ottumwa, and that's our people. The people here in Ottumwa are our greatest asset, and we need to let other people know that so that they too are willing to invest in the people here in Ottumwa. I want to see this city be rebuilt. There are areas that need to be redone. There are areas waiting to be built. And so I want to see that happen. I want to see us, as I said, walk together in a vision of growth and prosperity. And I know we can. We all are longing to do it. And I'm going to say it again. This journey is something we take together. It happens one step at a time, and it only happens by putting your best foot forward. So, starting October 15th through November 4th, I would encourage you to put your best foot forward and go to the polls and vote. I would love to have your vote because I believe that the vision and the direction that I've been given to lead this city is something that can take us to that place of growth and prosperity and a thriving city that we all can be proud of.
Thank you, Case.
Well, I want to be your mayor because I believe I'm the positive choice and I bring a skill set that's unique and in a package that also is unique in 182 years of Ottumwa history. I especially appreciate the League of Women Voters because I know I've studied how hard it was to gain that right to vote, and we didn't get it until 1920. And then my grandmother in 1968, I was about 5, she was still struggling because her husband told her how to vote, and he bragged that he had 2 votes, his and hers. So she whispered in my ear, and she said, "Brenda, now when you get in that voting booth, you're all by yourself, and you vote your heart, not anybody else's." So yeah, I have bachelor's degrees in psychology and sociology. I have a certificate from the U of I in project management, and those are skills that will help me lead people in a positive direction and look at the good, and I will shine a light on the good, and I will stand behind our professionals in the city and let them lead by doing the jobs that they do. We've got a great plan, the 2040 Our Ottumwa Comprehensive Plan, where stakeholders from city government officials, leaders in industry, housing, education, all the key players in the city got together and they dreamt this up. Who do we want to be? Where do we want to be in 2040? And they laid that all out. And it talks about housing and diversity. And we have all these goals, and we need to stick to the plan and follow the plan. It's what project managers do. So I care about that. I care about you. I'm a property owner. I'm proud of it. I've lived here for 50 years. I'm proud of you. And don't forget that you are Ottumwa tough. You're strong enough to be kind, and you're resilient. We're going to keep going because we're getting it right. We're getting a lot of it right. So hang with me. Vote for me on November 4th, and I will stand with you when times are hard, and I'll shine a spotlight on you when they're good.
This is the end of our forum. I want to thank every last one of you for coming and putting up with me. You were an amazing audience. I want to thank the Ottumwa school districts and the broadcasters in the audience. I just want to remind everyone to vote on November the 4th and to please travel safe. Thank you.